This time on Square Roots, the city is ripe with crime, and only one man has the cure. Ooh. That was good, right? It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
All right, hang on. You don't have to humor me. This time on Square Roots, Machi wa Hanzai de Juku Shite Ori Hitori Daki ga Kiru o Moti Imasu.
Your dialect is spot on.
Wonderful.
Tasukite, Brian Pitt.
See, now leave that in. That is great.
Yakuza.
That's what I was waiting for. Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by John Majima Brandon.
I just wanted to double check that everyone is recording and that they see waveforms in all their windows. Great.
There is a track being recorded. Also joined by Vanessa.
Konnichiwa. Imu Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about classic RPGs. In this case, we are starting our series on Yakuza Kiwami.
Well, Yakuza 1 /
Yakuza 1. Is Kiwami just what they call the remaster?
Yeah, and well, it's also a slightly different fighting system. But yeah, that's the name of the remaster, yeah.
Okay, well, we're playing the first Yakuza game. I think we're all playing the remaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought about playing the PS2 game, but that's the one I played. I have finished the PS2 version of Yakuza 1 before, and it is like load time city.
This one also kind of is too.
It's nowhere near as bad because there's a big load time before every fight. And
Oof.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it gets long.
Considering like the third chapter of this game is nonstop fighting. Pretty much.
Watashi wa Nihongo ga toemo jozu desu?
Vanessa, can we switch you to Google Translate mode?
Yes, I will cease my attempts to speak Japanese now. Although I thought perhaps this game would help me in my bilingual aspirations, I don't think that it's set in yet.
Now, we talked about doing this on the show before Yakuza 7 was announced, which is going to be a legitimate turn-based RPG.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. They just want to do something different.
That sounds cool, actually.
Yeah. So they're basically doing a Dragon Quest style Yakuza. But this is it's still, I would say it's an RPG with brawler mechanics.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a soap opera Double Dragon, kind of, with like a more involved fighting system.
But you definitely do get points that you can allocate to different skill trees and things like that. And
yeah. And you can upgrade abilities and upgrade your health and stamina and all that stuff.
And it's kind of an open world with side quests, lots and lots of side quests. Although it definitely going back to this now, they double they really go hard on that in the later Yakuza games like 0 and 6 and stuff. This one doesn't have anywhere near as many ridiculous side quests, although I already have had a child try to get me to collect the pornographic Pokemon game that he's real into and play it against him.
Cool.
That sounds like a totally okay thing to do with a kid.
So Vanessa, I think we should keep a count of strong, capable women in this game.
I think that's a great idea. This week's count is 0.
Yep.
But stay tuned. You never know what might change.
I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, but Matthew Van Zandt is on assignment doing investigative reporting for our podcast.
You'll be able to read his report later.
Yes.
An unspecified amount of time later. Well, guys, before we get into Yakuza chat, let's talk about how we leveled up. Vanessa, why don't you kick us off this week?
Yes, I saw a movie called Parasite.
Oh, that's the Bong Joon-ho movie, right?
That's right. It was very interesting. It was very well made. I don't know if I liked it.
What do you mean?
It just was a little bit, maybe the third act wasn't as strong as it could be. But the performances were all really good, and I liked the visuals of it a lot. But it sort of has a mid-second act twist that I didn't think was maybe necessary. Although I think people would argue that it's just extending the metaphor of the film. But I don't know. I was more interested in other characters and what they were doing than in these sort of two characters that became more prominent towards the end of the film.
That's interesting. One thing I've noticed a lot about like a lot of Korean cinema is that it's like when I first watched a few of them, I noticed that like they don't quite follow the same plot beats as Western cinema, like those like screenplay beats like that you can kind of sense coming.
Yes.
In a lot of films, so like it takes some patience.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true in this, that it sort of was a different kind of storytelling. I think that in a Western script, I would say that the twist wasn't really earned because it wasn't foreshadowed at all, but there is something to be said for not having too much foreshadowing. So
yeah, that
was good. But I really did like the sort of main 4 characters, and it's kind of a story about class tensions, and I liked that they didn't make the poor people or the wealthy people particularly villainous. They all had their sort of sympathetic points, but also points where you could understand why the other side would be upset with what was going on.
That sounds like a very nuanced way to approach that without making the rich people the evil rich people.
Yeah, so I appreciated that. As someone who self-identifies as a liberal coastal elite, I really appreciated that they weren't totally villainized. And by that, I mean, I have no money, and I never have. But somehow I get saddled with that label anyway. So think on that, listeners. So that's all I did. I've been playing the Ring Fit.
How are you enjoying that?
I enjoy it very much. It feels good to do. Ring is very kind and encouraging, and I do love him. We are in a pretty serious relationship. We get hot and heavy every day or sometimes every other day. And he tells me that my sweat is shiny and beautiful.
So when can I betray Ring and take the renegade path to romance Drago?
I don't know, but I assume it's coming.
Yeah, he will.
I myself will be putting a ring on it.
Oh no.
Because I'm a creep, I did look at the Twitter of the voice actor for Ring, and was very pleased to see that his first tweet was like #Nunez is an idiot. So I was like, I do love you, Ring.
Oh, hey, nice.
Now we're best friends. Jim.
So I'm gonna quickly touch on my level up from last week, and then I have a thing to talk about for this week. But last week, what I said before my track went to hell was I went to a concert a couple Fridays ago. I went and saw some punk rock bands. I saw the band Culture Abuse and the band Tiger's Jaw and the band The Menzingers.
You
and
made those up.
Really good show. They sound like made up names. But it was a really good show and I enjoyed myself. And then this week, probably once every month, every 6 weeks, I play poker with some friends of mine in my old neighborhood, and I always lose because I'm not good at poker. And this time I won the entire thing last night, and I got to take home all of the monies, and I won $320.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
You cleaned them all out.
Yeah.
I did.
Sounds like
The way it
their
works is
families
like-
won't be having Christmas this year.
Yeah, everybody throws in $20 into the pot, and then the person who wins basically gets to take it all. And like people can rebuy multiple times. So there were some people who spent like $60, and so I just got all their money.
Woof.
Yeah. So that was cool. John, how did you level up?
I have found what I think will be the Square Roots headquarters.
Oh.
It's a home. It's a home in Coors Gold, California.
Mm-hmm.
It is a beautiful $2.3 million mansion, so we may need to finance this over a couple hundred years.
Well, that's what the Patreon's for.
Exactly. It's a dream home built by this lovely couple, Ken and Roberta Williams.
Not the Ken and Roberta Williams.
That's right.
Ken, husband of, and Roberta, titular hero of my childhood.
You could buy their house.
I want it.
Have we been snooping through the real estate listing on this one?
We sure have.
This house is very large.
It's very large. It's a little bit odd. It's full of good items to put in your inventory, just in case you need to make a winch out of a monkey, a spool of thread, and a banana peel.
It has a lot of Sierra-related stained glass.
Yeah, that's definitely the highlight.
There is a basketball court. I don't know why. And it's kind of like the basketball court seems very central. There's a lot of hallways around it. It's kind of a
all
weird
roads lead to the basketball court.
with an Apple logo on the floor.
I thought that was a little bit surprising, but I guess.
Well, they Apple. I think all the Princess and the Wizard and Mystery House were all Apple II games, right?
Yeah, so I suppose they owe something to Apple, and Apple owes something to them.
Yeah, there is a beautiful hot tub. That looks very nice. I don't think it's the location for the cover of Soft Porn Adventures, where you scandalously see Roberta Williams shirtless.
That's right.
What?
Yeah, one of their early games. Like, they were a horny couple. Like, that
really?
The Sierra games are very pervy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that I like about. I mean, Leisure Suit Larry was, one of their. It was basically Soft Porn Adventures was the predecessor to Leisure Suit Larry.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Soft Porn Adventures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it was. I always associate the Williamses with the Peenies, who were the writer and the artist behind ElfQuest. Shout out to our 2 listeners who love it when I talk about ElfQuest. Uh, Wendy Peeney was known for dressing as, what's her name? Not Conan, but the sort of Red Sonja? Yeah.
Yeah.
At conventions, she would go as Red Sonja. And it seemed like they would have a really good time, those 2 couples. Probably in the hot tub.
You can see the key bowl right by the front door.
Exactly.
I imagine this house like having shag carpet.
No, it's very rustic. A lot of real cedar, I think, from the area.
Huh.
It's immense, and a lot of frills, a lot of like very frilly curtains. There's too much. Like, I don't like a toilet being right next to a frilly curtain bath area. Like, I think toilets and frilly curtains should be far apart due to splash zone.
Ooh, the splash zone.
Yeah.
What are you doing at the toilet where you worry about it splashing everywhere?
Yeah, I don't find that to be a concern of mine.
I've got a powerful stream, Jim.
I've never been worried about the splash radius around my toilet.
Maybe you should be. And also, call the police, because I bought a game off of G2A.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
It's a key reseller. So basically, you know how Steam keys, you get those codes and you can punch them into Steam and that's how you get a game. And sometimes like you get free codes from places.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell them to it's like eBay, where so G2A doesn't sell you anything. It just links you to people who will sell you codes, and you use that code, which they either got or use stolen credit cards or somehow purchased and wrangled.
Stolen credit cards? What are you talking about?
They take no. Basically, it could be bought that way. It could be bought via. A lot of times, it's like it was on sale in Hungary or someplace with like a non-euro currency for super cheap, and then they resell it into Canadian and American dollars. It's a really weird. It's gray market, and it. Sorry?
This is the Silk Road of video games.
It really is.
Oh.
So I bought Final Fantasy 15 for 24 Canadian dollars instead of the 67 that it is for sale on Steam. And I've been playing that. That game is amazing on PC. It looks gorgeous. It's running mostly actually it's like anytime it rains, it drops to like 40 frames per second, but mostly it's at like 50 to 60 frames per second. And I'm like, I did play this. I bought this back in 2016, 3 years ago, and playing it again, I'm enjoying it more because I figured out the combat. Because I didn't know there's a wait mode.
Where you can just like wait for the monsters to get bored and wander away.
If you turn wait mode on, if you don't touch the controller, it pauses.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And so you can turn that on to make combat a bit less stressful. You're like, because if you have something coming at you and then there's like a quick time button, you can not press anything and then make sure you press the right button. It just makes things way easier than because I was having a really, really hard time with the combat before 3 years ago.
I like how Square Enix has put so much attention and like resources into that game after the launch. It seems like a totally different game now than it was when it was released.
I haven't hit any of that new content, except I showed you some pictures. You can customize Noctis and make him a man or a woman, and you can make him look however you want. You can like make him fat with a beard, fattish with a beard. You can make him a pretty girl. And if you change to a custom avatar, then suddenly you see like people's photos of their avatars that they've taken all around the world, and you can say if they're cool or not. It turns Dark Souls-y in a weird way. It's really weird. I turned that mode off just because I'd rather see Noctis as Noctis than my like chubby Pete Wentz that I made.
He did look like Pete Wentz.
So I I still have problems with it. Like the story seems like nothing. Like nothing's really. There's stuff happening, but it's not happening to the main character or on screen so far. And there's very little narrative drive on what you should be doing. But
that's kind of that whole game until you get like halfway through, and then it's like only plot.
Yeah, I never made it that far into it because I got bored. Does the game change if you make Noctis a lady?
it says that it might.
Is there a
Interesting.
lady voice actor?
I don't think so. I don't know. We'll have to. I'll have to do some experimenting. This has been also patched into the PS4 version, I think, so you can go back and take a look at that and see. But that's what I've been playing. And Jim got mad at me. Well, not mad at me, but he says he couldn't keep up with the amount of games I've been playing. I've only played Yakuza, Ring Fit, and this week. So
it's like sometimes you'll pop into the chat and be like, "Oh, I played this 20-year-old game for 3 hours last night," and it's like, why? You have so many things happening.
I just like playing games. And before I did this podcast, I never finished games. And like this podcast has really helped me try and focus on finishing stuff. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
Anyway, I feel like we've talked about leveling up for long enough.
good.
So why don't we go to the quest log?
Is that what we want to call it?
I'm open to different ideas.
Let me see if I still have my Google Translate open here. Google Translate. Let me plug it in here. Quest log into Japanese. It's the Quesutorogu.
That seems like a Anglicism.
Rogu.
Kuesutl.
Yeah.
Rogu.
But
That
you can-
like that?
That is them
Oh, it is.
taking
It's
the-
like Questo.
Yeah, Questo Rogu. Like it's just the
Questo
English
Rogu.
Oh,
words.
Questo.
Questo
Yeah.
Rogu.
Yeah. It's just the word quest log, but redone in phonetic Japanese and then put back to English.
That doesn't seem great.
Let's not do that.
How about the Janaru? No, journal is the same thing. Does Google Translate just turn it into what would you call it? Like a record? A record.
You could call it our criminal record.
Oh, record is
Ooh, our rap sheet.
Kiroku.
Yeah.
Oh, the rap sheet. That's great.
Let's read off the crimes on the rap sheet.
Yeah.
Rapushito.
No.
This is why I need Brian Pitt for this series. Okay, I'm done.
All right, let's get into the rap sheet. So the game opens, there's a cold open, which is interesting. Shows you standing over a dead body that's been shot. And the police show up and are about to arrest you. And then you get a little flashback to, is it 2 days before?
It goes to a day before and then a day before that and then like 2 hours before and then like an hour later. The whole first chapter is kind of a mess.
I had a lot of trouble following what was happening here.
And also the first chapter is the get to know everyone in this elaborate criminal organization chapter, but then it goes ahead 10 years and everyone looks different. So
Yeah, and then there's so many more people.
So you are Kiryu Kazama,
The Dragon of Dojima.
the Dragon of Dojima. Now Dojima, so you're basically your boss that you're from the Kazama family is what's his name? I wrote Shintaro Kazama, who later shows up wearing holding a cane, but in this case does not have a cane because he's not that old yet. This is 1995.
This is pre 10-year time jump.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And it's so 90s.
Yeah, we're in the 90s.
We are
Alanis Morissette's on the radio.
Alanis? With their song "You Oida Know." There is it's I love the when there's we'll talk about that actually. We'll talk about that in a bit. I do like that it does set you in the 90s. There's not it doesn't have like a 90s montage like the way Yakuza 0 does with its 1980s montage to really show you that it's the 80s.
I will say that not a lot looked different between 95 and 2005 later.
Yeah, it does. I think that like the signs are different and there's different kinds of stores and stuff, but I didn't spend a lot of time exploring to sort of see what was different between the two timelines or eras.
Right.
So you are part of the Kazama family, which is like the clan, and then the Kazama clan is a subgroup of the Dojima clan.
So this is what I was confused about. So you are in the Kazama family, which is a part of the Dojima clan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are a subgroup of the Tojo clan. So if you sort of think of it as like imagine a pyramid-shaped scheme.
Okay.
And
with the Tojo at the top?
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is the Tojo. The whole pyramid
okay.
is the Tojo.
I think it's more like a corporation where you have like...
It's like an org chart.
Yeah. Like Kraft owns, their subsidiaries of... I don't know what Kraft owns. Some kind of cream cheese.
Velveeta.
Philly cream cheese. Yeah, Kraft owns Velveeta, and then Kuro is part of like Christmas Velveeta, essentially. Like
it's the white queso Velveeta.
Yeah, white queso Velveeta. Kuro is in the white queso Velveeta to the higher clans Velveeta to the higher clans Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think like P&G Pharmaceuticals is part of that, and it all gets very confusing.
John, what's a Yakuza?
Okay, a Yakuza is a mobster.
Yeah, they're gangsters.
But they are generally tolerated and pretty liked, I think. Like, people like the Yakuza for the most part, although they stay out of their way. It's sort of like they're supposed to help the community as much as take money from them.
Sort of like a feudal lord, right?
I can't speak to that,
I
unfortunately.
read that the Yakuza, after the earthquake and tsunami in Japan several years ago, donated a lot of money to the rebuilding effort.
Yeah, that's kind of traditionally what they do, is that they help the community, but they also are, a protection racket, and they also like own video game companies and stuff too.
What?
Like, there's apparently a lot of Yakuza money in Sega.
Is it not true that the sort of amount of legal versus illegal activity varies by family and clan?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I read on
plausible.
Wikipedia, so let's go with that.
Yeah. So, they sort of skirt along illegal and legal, and as you'll see in this game, they have an interesting relationship to law enforcement.
They also like to have tattoos.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's why generally people with tattoos are considered to be like criminals in Yakuza and stuff. And you'll see like apparently bathhouses in Japan that say no tattoos.
Oh, interesting. That's also they have kind of a similar thing in Eastern European organized crime, where like tattoos will basically show what organization you're a part of and how much time you spent in prison and all that kind of stuff.
The Kiryu has real rad dragon tattoos, which is nice.
He's the dragon of the Dojima family.
Which is like, I guess, like the henchman, like the Stomper from Tomorrow Never Dies, which Jim still hasn't seen, or the Grace Jones from A View to a Kill.
Oh.
He's like the heavy, like he's the fighter guy who's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is Goro Majima, who we'll get to in a minute because he shows up pretty early in this game.
An interesting character.
He really is. So you cut from Kiryu being arrested to a couple of days before where he is having drinks with his pals.
Yep, he's just having a good time.
Yeah, they're hanging out at a bar called Serena.
And Serena is like a bar that is a big... Oh, no, no, that's not what happens. Sorry, you cut to him and going with Shinji to go to Peace Finance.
Oh, right. So he's on a collection run.
Yeah.
So these guys owe a bunch of money, and they're worried they might skip town before their payment is due. So they go and see them like a day early.
Yeah.
To like basically collect before they can skip out, and that's exactly what they're doing. You walk into the office and they're packing up all their stuff to leave.
Mm-hmm. And isn't there sort of a discussion of like, Kiru, you're so cool. You're about to get your own family. I'm so grateful that you've come here.
He's about to be like made pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll like have his own crew.
He's on his way to being a big man in the Tojo clan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a little stop by. He's there to pick up 100 million yen from these friends. And Harata, president of the Peace Finance clan, is very apologetic. He does not have their money. And is like, oh, just give me one more day.
Yeah. But, and Kiru's like, yeah, but you're packing your bags.
Yeah.
And then this dude freaks out. He's like, you're going to kill me. You're going to kill me. And Kira's like, I'm not going to kill you. And he's like, you're going to kill me. Everyone knows you're going to kill me. And he's like, I'm really not going to. And then the guy just is like, well, I have no choice. I'm going to fight for my life.
Mm-hmm. It tries to wail on Kiryu with a golf club.
Yeah.
I love how violent these fights are. Like, it's super satisfying to grab somebody by their head and then just slam them into the ground head first. It's funny to watch.
Now you can try to piece together. They don't explicitly say it, but Kiryu has a code of ethics where he's not killing anyone. He just kind of beats people up until they do the right thing.
Yeah.
Except if you
straightens people out.
If you do a heat attack on someone while you're holding a knife, you'll just repeatedly stab them in the abdomen. I feel like Kiryu might not be the brightest bulb. He might not have figured out that this isn't beating someone up. That's straight up murdering someone.
Yeah.
I fought a guy in chapter 2 and grabbed him and then did like a heavy attack. And I opened up a car door, put his head in there, and then slammed the car door repeatedly on his head.
Those
He's
heat
fine.
attacks. Yeah. It's just a little bit of street justice. And you do get some people outside of Peace Finance saying what bad guys they are and how they're like committing usury, giving bad loans to people and then trying to extort them.
Mm-hmm. It's all the word on the street. Whenever Kiru is going somewhere, that place is the talk of the town.
I know.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Really, this whole thing is really interesting because usually the gangsters are the ones loan sharking people, but in this one, like, they're kind of straightening out the loan sharks.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying, and keeping them in line, and these are bad dudes. So you kick the crap out of Harada. Like, I think I picked up a desk and a chair and threw it at him.
Later in the game, in chapter 3, you're like picking up entire couches and swinging them wildly around a room. It's so fun.
Have a seat. There are, like, bikes, signs.
Yeah, you can. Like tables. And like, there's so many things. Lanterns to pick up and just swing wildly at people.
Now, I've played the PS2 version. I don't remember it having multiple fight styles like this one does, where like there's like a super fast one. There's a brawler one that automatically picks up weapons as you fight and sort of is
Mhm.
focused on attacking multiple people. There's like the standard one, which is more about heat moves. And then there's the dragon mode, which is new.
There's a beast one too.
Yeah, that's the yellow one with about picking up stuff and like fighting lots of people at once.
Yeah, you're like when you punch, it's like super wide swing, so you can hit multiple people at the same time.
Yeah. What do you think of the combat, Jim?
I like it a lot. It's taken me some adjusting to like because the game, and I think this maybe becomes easier as you upgrade your fighting styles, but switching between them is pretty clunky.
Yeah,
like
you can't be moving while you switch.
No, you have to. Yeah, you like have to be planted and not moving. Because I kept wanting to, like, if I was getting hit a bunch and getting knocked down, I would want to switch fight styles while I was on the ground, and you can't.
Yeah.
So like you have to get up and then move to a spot where you're not going to get hit, stand there for a second, and then switch.
What about you, Vanessa? How do you feel about the combat so far?
It's not my favorite thing to do, this kind of button mashy combat. I do like quick stepping because I like to quick step out of the way, but I find it confusing. I know in the tutorial it tells you how to do your super moves and things like that, but then I can never quite seem to pull them off, and I don't know if it's because I lost my skills or if I just can't do it right, and I don't like blocking, but I do like to pick up bicycles and bash people in the head with them.
I do like if you hold down R1, it like locks on someone in sort of a Zelda-y way, and then that's a good way to kind of concentrate on one person and smack them around.
Yeah.
And picking up bicycles, especially like the heat move when you have a bicycle, which is when you fill up your attack, the blue glowy bar, and then you'll get to do like a super move and like smash the bicycle over their heads.
How do you activate that?
Triangle. And it'll say like in the top
Triangle.
right corner, it'll say heat with the triangle button. That means you can do these like the car door move and stuff. Or smashing them against
that's
walls.
what that is. I thought it was just like a contextual thing when you grab people.
You get some extra heat moves when you grab someone, but there's other heat moves you can do. Like if you're just standing next to someone holding a box and your heat meter is full, you can like put it over their head and then punch them.
That's so funny.
There are lots of heat attacks, and they are usually pretty wild. And
It's
lots
pretty
of
fun to watch.
Kiryu is very stoic. I don't know how much character development they give him in this game compared to other ones, but he's kind of like there. You do find out over the years of playing, like there are something like 8 Yakuza games, including like weird spin-offs and stuff. You find out that basically he's an asexual child man who does Kiryu, the main guy. Like he believes whatever. He's very gullible and loving, and likes peace and honor and doing the right thing. But he also believes people all the time when he shouldn't, and will help out anyone who asks him, no matter what the dumb task they ask him to do is.
Yeah, he's real thick.
Yep.
So let's talk about Kira's adventures 2 nights before this collection. Or no, right after the collection, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, the collection's the night before the murder time.
Right.
So you grab the 100 million yen, which is if you divide everything by 100, I think so that's about $100,000. Is that right? It's a lot of money. You grab that, take that back to Serena, and you're introduced. Serena's sort of his clubhouse throughout every Yakuza game, pretty much.
It's a little bar.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a nice little bar. Bars in Tokyo tend to be like this, where they'll have like 6 seats and be open to the same regulars every night.
But on the way there, we do run into our friend in the eye patch.
Yes, Goro Majima. You see, he bumps into this just random Yakuza dude who then gets really offended and starts fighting with Kiryu, and Kiryu destroys him. But then Goro interrupts the fight. And this is one of Majima's subordinates. And Majima is so mad that he's disrespecting a higher level Yakuza guy that he starts whipping out his weird umbrella thing.
And beating him like beating the shit out of him with it, and then goes to plunge it through his body before Kiryu stops him.
Yeah. Kiryu's like, you don't have to do this. It's fine.
Goro Majima has a crush on Kiryu, and I'm just basing that on the fact that when he calls his name, he goes, Kiryu!
Kiryu-chan!
I feel like it doesn't feel like a crush as much as it is like, I feel like he's teasing him all the time.
Kiryu-chan!
I kind of think it's halfway between both of you. I do think there's a strange relationship between them. Kind of a rivalry, kind of a homoerotic tension, but it's one-sided where Goro's just obsessed with Kiryu. And Majima in this game is very different than in Zero. That's the only... I know that's the one that Vanessa's played. I played Yakuza 2, and there's not much Majima in it, but Zero, he's a main character. He's one of the playable characters, and he's this like suave, debonair man who's just like real hit with the ladies, and everyone loves him.
Yeah, and doesn't seem to be completely insane.
No, and I didn't finish Yakuza 0, so I don't know if it explains how he went from that to this. Because Zero takes place when they're both in their early 20s in the 80s.
Oh, cute.
But now he's like Joker-style psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very much like Joker's sort of weird homoerotic attraction to Batman.
This game... unlike the first, in the first PS2 version, there wasn't this mode called Majima Everywhere, which is a feature of the new game, where Majima
realize that.
shows up to fight you all the time.
Everywhere.
He's hidden all around the world. You can, if you do certain actions in certain places, you'll spawn an extra Majima fight to get new abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun. Yeah, have you guys had any random encounters with him yet?
Yeah, I did in Chapter 2. I bought a
Me too.
bento box that led
I thought he was going to destroy me like he did at the beginning of Chapter 2, but the fight was actually pretty easy.
Yeah, he's just there to like give you new abilities, and you have a whole Majima ability chain that you can unlock. So, he just slinks off. He doesn't want to fight Kiryu. No, Kiryu doesn't want to fight him without a reason.
His only dream is to fight Kiryu.
Yeah. And Kiryu's like, no, that's okay. So they aren't going to fight today. But you head up to the bar and you meet your friends. So there's Reina, who's the cool, smart lady that runs Serena. She's the bartender. There is Yumi, the bubbly girl that Kiryu has known since the Sunflower Orphanage. And there's Nishiki, who is his like his adopted little brother from the orphanage.
Oh, cool.
So that's sort of the main cast of characters for this. And it is going to be Yumi's birthday tomorrow, and Reina wants them to get her expensive presents.
Yeah. And they seem to kind of take that in stride. They're just like, okay. Well, I guess, what's his name? I can never remember his name.
Nishiki?
Little bro. Nishiki?
Yeah.
Nishiki has already gotten her a present that he ordered far ahead of time.
Yeah, a beautiful necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiryu... Is it Reina that suggests a ring, or is it Kiryu that comes up with that idea?
Reina suggests the ring. She's like, why don't you get her a ring? And he's like, oh, a ring?
Because there's a context to this that you find out after you buy it.
Yes. So Reina tells him, yeah, there's this really popular ring that's super in style, and she'd really like to have one. And he's like, ring?
Now, Kiryu, once again, he's good at fighting and good at criming, but he's not good at anything else in life. Like getting presents or having friends.
Yeah.
So he will do whatever Reina says he should do.
Yeah.
And he goes to La Marche, which is a store along like the big main street. where there's that very popular ring, and he gets the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets it engraved with Yumi's name on the inside.
Yeah.
What a thoughtful inscription. Just her name.
Yeah, I know.
He's not great at ideas, Jim. So he walks outside, and a man bumps into him. He doesn't make any big thing about it, but then notice, oh no, the ring is gone.
He got pickpocketed.
This
pickpocket guy is hilarious because when he hides, it's just like squatting behind like a sign in like the open street.
It's amazing. You have to go find him. And like Vanessa was saying before, people talking around you sort of give you an idea of where you should be going, because they'll be like, oh, did you see that man? Oh, that man went down that alley there. Oh, what a weirdo.
What a strange man. I saw that man.
The game does like visually tell you too, because like you find him once and then he runs away again, and the camera in the game pans over to like the street that he ran down.
Yeah. And the game's I like this little side quest, although it does take a long time, because eventually, like, you have to find him a couple of times before you track him down, and then he's like, I already sold it. He pawned the ring.
Yeah,
at the pawn
like
shop.
Instantly. And when did he do it? Because you've been chasing him the whole time.
Yeah. He's had no opportunities to do anything other than run and hide.
He is that good. So you go to get the ring back from the pawn shop. Unfortunately, you didn't bring that guy with you, or take his money or anything. So they don't believe you. They're like,
I like that this made me laugh, because you have to have all of this money, and you'd borrow a bunch of money from Shinji to do it, and then after you get the money, the guy's like, you know what, you can just have it.
Well,
like, oh, thanks.
There's 3 steps to this. First, you get to the pawn shop, and you don't have any money because you spent it all on the ring at the other store. And he doesn't believe you that it was stolen. So then you just randomly walk into Shinji, who thinks you are going to what he calls a soap land.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's a place where you get prostitutes.
Oh.
I think. I could be wrong, but he's like, oh, you're spending that much money on a girl? And you're like, well, Kiryu doesn't like explaining things. He's like, well, don't ask. I'm just give me the money. And Shinji just assumes it's a girl. So you go back.
Oh, wait, hold on. I just looked up Soapland. It's a word construed from the 2 English words soap and land. Thank you, Wikipedia. It is a prostitution thing.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you...
Yeah, and at one point, Kiryu says, come on, give me the money. I have to get there before someone else gets it.
So you go back, and then the pawn shop guy's raised his price 30,000 yen.
Yeah, because he's pissed off at Kiryu.
Yeah. So then you have to go back, find Shinji again, and that's where he's like, I don't want anyone else to take it.
Yeah.
You get another 30,000 yen from Shinji, go back to the pawn shop. Pawn shop man's like, oh, yeah, I believe you. This is obviously stolen. You know about the engraving and everything, so you can just have it.
Yeah, he's an honest guy.
Mm-hmm. So then you bring it back to Serena.
Mm-hmm.
And you get your presents ready. Yumi shows up. She loves her presents. She loves the necklace, and she's especially excited by the ring.
Yeah, she puts it right on, and the necklace just sits there, and Nishi is like,
Now, you also get a bit of a Betty and Veronica moment, because Reina's watching all this, and she's the one who suggested the ring, which is important.
Right.
Because she, like, you'd seen Yumi before with I guess she was, like, hanging out with clients at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was being skeezy on her and was like, hey, I'll buy you a ring. She's like, oh, I won't accept a ring from anyone unless I love them.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, so you're in love. And she's like, no, it's not like that. It's just, a special thing. And so, yeah, she totally set this up. And then she says to Nishi, maybe for my birthday, you can get me a ring.
Oh, Reina says that? Yes.
Yeah, so...
But Reina does give this like sad look when Yumi's super happy about the ring. I think she's got a thing for Kiryu.
Why? Kiro has no personality.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he doesn't.
Vanessa, we've discussed that before. Sometimes that's cool.
No, it's not. It's
A
boring.
big obedient man who does whatever you want.
Wait, tell me more.
He has no inner monologue and won't interrupt you and will let you play video games and just sit next to you and get you stuff.
Get me stuff, you say?
Think about that. This is why
Hmm.
Reina's interested in the K train.
Golly. Wow, you've really taught me something today, John.
I taught you why we're both single. So she's a little sad, but then you guys are gonna Nishiki and you are gonna go off to see. Oh no, it's just you, and you're gonna go off to meet Kazama, your boss, talk about things, just hang. Like, it's weird that the Yakuza have like offices in office buildings.
I was curious about that too. It's not like you would imagine them hanging out in like some kind of like a den or something, but it's like a corporate, like you said, like a corporate office.
Now I live in Coquitlam, British Columbia, and just on one of the main streets here, Brunette Avenue, there is just a big house that has big Hell's Angels logos on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like a clubhouse that they go to right near my house. It's just like, it's not hidden. There's big signs.
Well, Hell's Angels, that's like a brand now.
They are a legit gang. I mean, they are a motorcycle
Well,
gang.
yeah, but like they have like they like have the Hell's Angels and stuff trademarked. I think they took Disney to court over it actually because they tried to use the Hell's Angels as a term in the movie. What's that movie with Tim Allen and he's like a Harley guy? Wild Hogs.
Oh, okay.
And the Hell's Angels took them to court, so that's why they didn't use Hell's Angels in that
Interesting.
movie. Yeah.
Well, so I guess it's like that they have offices, and you head up there, and you're just talking about again that he's about to get his own family. When is it Shinji that runs in, or is it Reina?
I think it's niche. No, it's Shinji.
It's definitely not Nishiki because he's run off to
Right.
It must be Shinji.
Yeah.
Shinji runs in and says, "Hey, the Dojima has taken Yumi from Serena by force because he thinks she's a little hottie.
Yeah.
He wants her."
Mm-hmm. And I guess this is not an unusual occurrence because, well, they're shocked that it's Reina. They're sort of like, well, if he wants her, what can you do?
Yumi.
Yeah.
But Kiryu's not gonna let that sit. And he's also heard that Nishiki's on his way. I think he wants to stop his little bro from getting in too much trouble.
Yeah. And their boss is like, why don't you just stay here and I'll take care of this and see what happens. And but he won't do it.
Nope. This is the first time you see Kiryu really betray his, or at least go against the orders of his boss.
Mm-hmm.
And he runs that fateful night to the Dojima office. But on the way is stopped by you meet a couple of people. First you meet Tamura and Aoki, who are two like informants. They work for, I think they're reporters, but they give Yakuza tips.
Mm-hmm.
Information brokers.
Yeah. And it's kind of in the middle of nowhere that you meet those two. But on the way to the Dojima office, you meet Harada from the Peace Finance, and he's like, "You've ruined my life. I have lost all my money. It's all your fault." And you get into a fight with him because he's hired a new bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he shows up with some toughs, some street toughs,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta fight them.
But you know what they aren't as tough as?
What?
A car door. Oh boy. At least they should be glad that it wasn't a Cybertruck.
A Cybertruck?
Have you seen this Cybertruck, Vanessa?
It looks so stupid.
I love it.
I think
I
I've
love
seen
it.
the Cybertruck.
It's like a
It's the new Tesla truck.
and it looks like a big wedge. It's a big pickup truck. And it's like sort of 80s, 70s, 80s style wedge design. Like it looks like it's right out of Blade Runner or Total Recall.
It does look like the cars from Blade Runner.
It's really
Oh.
cool.
I
And it's-
saw this, but I thought it was a joke.
No, it is not a joke.
Are
And,
you sure this isn't a joke?
And
It reminds me of the Homer Simpson car that he made when he found out his brother was Danny DeVito and owned like the auto company.
And he was talking about how tough the glass is, and then like whipped some rocks at it and broke both windows.
Yeah, I heard about that. First of all, this is not a truck.
It is. It's a pickup truck.
It's not a truck at all.
Okay.
It's a car with a very large trunk.
But it's open.
It's open on top?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you can see like from the back.
What is this?
Anyway, I was just obsessed with that because I actually like the Tesla car designs a lot of the time, and I think this one looks really neat. But I also really like seeing Elon Musk fail because he's an idiot.
But it's
Yeah,
short,
he's
like a car. Oh, I see. It has like a solar panel on it in this image. It has a solar panel over the truck part. It has big fat wheels. It's short, though. Oh, here it is with the cracked glass windows.
I think there was like an article in, I think it was like Wired or something, that went through all the reasons why it's a fucking death trap and how many things about the design are not even street legal.
It looks awful.
I
mean,
think it looks really cool.
It doesn't
And
have any headlights.
It has headlights.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
that's
one
dumb.
line. I love it. I love that it looks like a PS1 Twisted Metal car.
It looks like someone tried to render the DeLorean from Back to the Future on a PS1.
Yep. I am very excited. And also, it starts at less than $40,000.
Well, what a
I think
deal.
you can reserve yours for a small payment of $100.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a picture here where someone has put a picture of the Cybertruck next to a picture of Lara Croft from the original Tomb Raider. And they go really well together.
So what's her name again, Vanessa?
Which one?
The lady you were just talking about?
Lara Croft?
Okay. That's not what you said, but yes, that is how
I
it.
know it's not.
Why can't Americans say Lara? Like,
It
what
seems
is-
like pretentious.
but that's her name. It's Lara Croft.
Lara.
That's her name. I don't. Is it because you hear it with a British accent, and you're like, oh well, they said Laura, so I'm gonna say Laura.
My name's
Because-
Lara.
But that's her name. It's Lara Croft.
Lara.
Well, you can say Lara if you want, but it's not Laura.
Lara.
I knew a guy who's like Tomb Raider's his favorite game, and he loves Lara Croft, and there's like posters of Lara Croft, and then calls her Laura. What's wrong with you? Anyway, back to Yakuza. So we beat up these guys real easy because Kiryu's about to get Super Metroided, where he loses all his abilities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, just a quick question. What difficulty are you guys playing this game on?
Easy peasy.
Normal, warmal.
I'm also on easy.
Jim and
These
I
games
aren't
aren't
really
very hard.
gamers.
These games are not like, even in the hardest fights. Like I think the fight with Shintaro, or what's his name? I gotta go look it up for a second. Even with the fight with Futoshi Shimano, even with the fight with him, It's hard, but you can just buy 20 healing items before you go, which means you won't lose.
I don't like losing ever in a game. I like to be a winning winner. And that's
Mhm.
why I love the power of Andraste.
Are there no cheat codes available for this game?
Oh, there are no cheat codes? I have no idea. I haven't looked.
I haven't tried to cheat yet.
There might be. Who knows?
It's a PlayStation game. It's not a PC game.
Yeah, but sometimes there's like little buttons you can push. You go like a boop, 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 beep.
A Konami code?
Boop beep boop.
A
Yep.
Konami code?
Konami code.
So you finally get to Dojima's office, and Nishiki's there, terrified and in shock. He's holding a gun, and your boss, big man Dojima, is really not doing super great.
Yeah.
He's got a hole in his leg,
Mm-hmm.
a hole in his chest.
Mm-hmm.
His glasses are broken.
Yeah.
His eyes are rolled up.
Yeah,
He dead.
he's very much dead, and Uni is there, and she's just
Uni
huddled
the
up.
unicorn.
Uni the Look, I'm not going to remember these people's names, okay? So,
Yubi.
all right, Yubi is there.
Yumi.
Yumi is there.
Yumi.
You and me are there, and she are curled up in a little fetal position, sort of behind a desk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we should also mention Nishiki has a sister who is sick with an unspecified sickness, because this is important.
Okay.
Wait, who's sick?
Nishiki has another sister. She's not at the bar, but he mentions that she's got one more series of treatments, and then hopefully she'll be okay.
Oh, right. I remember that.
And-
Because, this is why Kiryu takes the rap, right?
Yes.
Because he's like, who's going to take care of your sick sister, if you go to jail?
Yeah. So Kiryu tells him to leave because he's going to take the fall for killing Dojima. Even though I think that it makes everything worse that he did that.
It does.
He kind of screws up everything for everybody.
I wish so. Like he goes to prison.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was more prison stuff because the fight in the prison was super fun.
Yes. You get there's a quick sequence of events. He's arrested. Detective Date does not believe that he did it for a second.
He's like, there's no way you would do that. You wouldn't kill your family patriarch. And then this other detective comes in and he's like, you know what? He said he did it. It doesn't really matter what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Case closed.
Yep. So he goes to prison for 10 years. And the second you get there, it looks like lunchtime at this prison isn't super great. Someone gets stabbed with a fork as you're just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone else comes up. He's like, well, you knew this was going to happen. You can't betray the Yakuza without any consequences. And Chairman Sarah has ordered me to do this, so I'm going to kill you now. And he does the great thing of he gets his own fork, and then
He has 2 forks.
he like aims it at Kiryu's head, and Kiryu just stops it with his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. I love this part because this guy has 2 like golden forks and jumps up on the table and he's like holding them in his hands like he's wielding 2 daggers.
Mm-hmm. And
That's hilarious.
you destroy all of them, which I guess is the whole prison thing of make yourself seem big so that no one bugs you for the 10 years that you're there.
Yeah, and they don't, because we immediately flash forward to 10 years later.
Yep. He gets a letter from Kazama basically saying things have changed a lot. Nishiki's got his own family, and things are real different. And you get like there's a whole bunch of cutscenes during this 10 years later chapter 2 where you sort of find out more about how Nishiki got his own family.
Mm-hmm. And we get a little visit from a guy who delivers us a letter of expulsion, which
Yes.
is not as severe a punishment as Kiryu was expecting.
Yeah, you get that right when you start prison, basically saying that you are going to be expelled from the Yakuza, but banishment is way worse. I think banishment's the one where they cut off your finger and stuff.
Ooh.
And you have to
Yeah.
like move to the States or something.
Yeah, but expelled is like you could come back.
You're just not in the club anymore.
Yeah, it's a temporary one.
Yeah.
So you get out of jail, and it's 10 years later, and here you get okay, so this montage happens in the PS2 version, and you get out, and it's like modern times where everyone has their flip phones, but now that it's 2019, you get out and everyone has flip phones. It's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, 2005.
But it's meant to be super high tech.
And yes, suddenly you are in the future world of 2005, and Kiryu is a man out of time. He was already dressed kind of dated back in the 90s, and now he looks ridiculous with his big 70s collar and his white suit.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dig that white suit, though.
Yeah, me too. And the big
Looks
70s
good.
collar. So he doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, what does he do? He doesn't want to cause any fuss, but Kazama suggests that he head to Stardust. So the first thing Kiryu needs to do is figure out what that is. And the best
They
place...
call it a host club.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, he doesn't know either. When you get there and you have to find an information broker, unfortunately your buddy, the information broker, is super dead. Tamura.
Mm-hmm.
But Aoki is doing it now, and he's like, oh, so they used to have some in the back alleys. It wasn't a big thing, but it's a host club, which is like a hostess club. I forget what the girl version's called.
Like a maid club sometimes, but hostess club often.
Yeah, where they sit. Basically, it's like a club where a girl sits next to you and you buy her drinks, and she's paid like she's an employee. You basically pay for a date, but it's not a sex thing.
Oh. Just a companionship thing with a wink.
Yeah, definitely
Wink.
not a sex thing. You just
But
sit
it's sort of a flirty thing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the time it is a sex thing. But in this case, it is not. It's just a girl who will be your companion for a dinner, and you can talk to her. And like in the classical idea of it is that she's like super knows about sports and history and markets and stuff, and can talk to you about anything while you like buy her drinks.
I watched a great documentary about host clubs several years ago. It, I think, was called The Great Happiness Space, something like that. And it's this documentary from 2006 about this all-male club and the young men who work there. And it's very, very interesting. And they sort of start out very cocky about their job, and then as they interview these boys longer, they sort of start to get a little bummed out. They're like, I know that the women who come here don't really like me. And the whole time I was like, who are these women who are coming to this club every night and spending, a ridiculous amount of money? Because everything is marked up. And part of the boys' job is to get them to spend more and more money by ordering fancy drinks or singing karaoke and things like that. And it turns out that they're being patronized by women who work in hostess clubs. So they go to their job at the hostess club and are paid by businessmen and things like that. And then they go to the host club to get attention paid to them.
Interesting.
It's sort of like reminds me of a one-on-one ASMR video where you're just paying someone to just basically like talk to you and give you attention.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a sexual element to it. It's not sex work in the sense we would think of it, but it's like these clubs have the pictures of the people who work there outside the club, and
Yeah.
people get their favorites, and looks is definitely a part of it.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, the host club is the male version, and the hostess club is the lady version. And it's just you get to sit with a beautiful person who just wants your money.
It's sort of like fan conventions.
Yeah, except imagine if Vanessa.
Yeah.
How about we turn the next fan convention into a hostess club?
That would be amazing. Do you know how much people would spend to go sit for 10 minutes one-on-one with their favorite like CW show actor who appeared on it twice in a
Steve
small
Valentine.
reoccurring roles? To sit with Steve Valentine and have him talk to you and probably do a magic trick whether you want him to or not.
We could get Steve Valentine. We could get that BDG guy.
Brian David Gilbert.
Yep.
I was like, who's BDG?
Polygon.com's Brian David Gilbert.
He would be sold out. I've seen Twitter's reactions to everything he does.
Yeah. Brian David Gilbert, if you're interested in this job opportunity, write into us at the Square Roots Podcast at gmail.com and we will find a space.
Now,
set it up
Jim,
with a nice little table.
in Yakuza 0, Majima, the crazy guy, is like the suave manager of one of these places, but a hostess club. And he just makes sure that they aren't like grabbing the boobs of the girls that work there. Like
Interesting.
There's a no touching policy at his host club.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
These are very classy places.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I
if
think
there
I
was a
must
host
have-
club full of wrestlers,
Yeah.
I would go. I'd try it once, but I know I feel like it'd be out of my price range. Because I bet like you're ending up spending like $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely fall into a habit of sort of getting your emotional needs met through these interactions.
Mm-hmm. It's probably not healthy.
I don't know. It's such a part of the culture there that I don't want to like.
Well, I just mean like individually for me. If I could like sit next to a wrestler and spend, like say $200 every time, I feel like it would be just like it's not real attention and it's not good. It wouldn't be good for me personally.
There's sort of a long tradition of this in an informal way in the United States, like for young people who are attractive and who are coming up in the world, not exactly a sugar daddy, but to be sort of like, this is my, particular patron for whatever art thing I'm doing, and you do have to like go hang out with them and things like that. I've known people who have had that kind of situation, and again, not in a sex way at all.
Yeah.
But just like, someone who'll pay for their health insurance or whatever.
Well, the host club is called Stardust, and Kiryu doesn't really know anything about it, but Aoki tells him, "Oh, go head down there. It's basically right across the street from Serena, so you probably know where it is." And you head down there, and this place has a bouncer named Yuya.
Yeah, I got totally negged on the way there. I
What?
stopped and talked to some girl, and there are a lot of places you can't go because there was a murder apparently somewhere in the city, and that area is blocked off, but these looky-loos are sort of rubbernecking along the police lines. And I talked to this one girl, and I was like, do you know where Stardust is? And she was like, you're not really, like, up to the caliber that they have there, because there are a lot of really cute guys working there, but they'll probably talk to you if you want a job, but don't get your hopes up.
And you also bump into Majima. And he is way stronger than you now because you've been in jail not fighting people for 10 years. And he destroys you.
He's so
He does,
happy
and he's
to
using
see
a
you, though.
knife.
Yeah, he's like, let's rumble, and then whips out a knife. It's like, you are legit trying to kill Kiru.
But he's not.
He has this like spin move that looks like it kills your character every time it lands.
He does give Kiryu a light stabbing, but he's fine. And
just a little poke.
and he's basically like, I want you to get stronger so we can fight each other. So I'm gonna be everywhere. I'm gonna pop up. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna help you get your mojo back. And this is sort of the mechanic of the game. This is the Majima Everywhere. And apparently it gets ridiculous. And I can't wait. He will pop out of places and fight you all the time. For instance, if you buy a bento box and you're like, the guy's like, oh, do you want to heat that up? And here's where it gets real homoerotic too. Because you're like, yeah, sure, I'll heat that up. And then Majima's like, did someone say hot? Because I want to get hot. Hot fighting you, buddy. Let's get hot. And then, so then you fight Majima, and this time you can beat him, because in the other fight he doesn't take any damage. This time you can beat him, and after you do, Majima's like, "Oh, that was great, see ya." And poor Kiryu's like, "Oh, they never heated up my bento." That was my first Majima fight. And so you go to Stardust, you get into this fight with the bouncer Yuya. And because Yuya just thinks, he's like, why do you want to talk to Kazumi? You don't seem like a client here. You're just going to try and start something. It's Kazuki, sorry.
Yeah.
So you fight with this guy Yuya, and it's a pretty easy fight. And then you go inside, and Kazuki's like, oh, sorry about that. Yuya, don't you know this guy? This is Kiryu Kazama. This is like the dragon of Dojima. Everyone loves you.
This fight is when I thought I murdered this guy by slamming his head into the car in the car multiple times.
See, he was fine. And you basically, as soon as you get there, a couple other Yakuza show up, and they're trying to shake down Kazuki for money.
Yeah.
And because he's like, oh, don't worry about it. But Kiryu, being Kiryu, is like, no, this is not going to happen. You're not taking his money.
I am here and I see someone who needs help. I must help.
So you wreck these guys, but then one pulls a gun on you, but he gets shot himself by Shinji.
Oh, our old friend.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still owe him like $30,000 for
150,000 yen? You sure do.
Cool.
That's like That's like $1,500.
And that's a lot in 2005. Did he charge interest though over the 10 years that you were in prison?
He's your buddy. He's your buddy, and he's working in Nishiki's family now.
Nishiki?
Yeah, your little bro.
Little bro has his own family?
Who didn't come see you get out of prison.
Rude.
Yeah.
And he went to prison. You took the rap for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it, John.
This is where you get some backstory cutscenes. You see everyone hating Nishiki, calling him a useless idiot. Then you see Kazama giving Nishiki his own family and then ordering his men to, his best men to go work for Nishiki. And then you see these best men tell Nishiki he's an idiot and they're not going to do what he says.
Yeah, they just walk out. It's pretty funny, actually.
And then you get to see 10 years later Nishiki, and he's got his hair slicked back and he's on the board. He's the same level as Kazama somehow. He seems real together and collected. And he's like, oh, hello, board members. He's talking to Chairman Sarah here. He's like, what about that 10 billion yen in that bank account? And Sarah's like, okay, we did kind of lose that.
Yeah, and everyone goes all up in arms. Well, at first they were like, you better not just be pulling this out of nowhere. And he's like, I'm not.
Nishiki knows about this disappeared money. So basically, in this cutscene, you find out that the whole Tojo clan, that's the whole clan, has been putting money into this account, and it's all gone. And
That's
10 billion
crazy.
Yen is $100 million.
Whoa.
It's a lot of space bucks.
It is. And they're all like, that money represents our blood and our sweat. How could you just lose it? We hate you very much.
This is also where you meet Futoshi Shimano. You'll recognize him as the big eyebrows big dude.
Oh, big eyebrows, big dude.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal in this game, so it's good to remember him.
He has a weird, like, mouth, too.
Yeah, he's an odd-looking large man. And then you... So, back to this. They basically say, like, Nishiki doesn't seem super interested in meeting Kiryu, but everything's interrupted by the announcement that there's been a murder, and Sarah, the chairman that Nishiki was accusing of losing all that money, is dead. He's been shot.
Gasp!
Mm-hmm. So, well, Kiryu wants to meet Kazama. He hasn't seen him since he went to jail. And he asks Shinji to help him get into the funeral, which sets up the funeral of fists.
The funeral of fists. I was like, did a fist die?
Is right around now's where you get that cutscene with Shimano getting his head shaved, right?
Yes. This part, like I like almost jumped out of my seat when like the guys that came to beat you up like at the club, go back to this guy and they're apologizing for not like killing Kiryu, and the guy's like getting his head shaved and then he moves and he gets nicked.
Yep.
But then he stands up and grabs this dude and just straight up cuts two of his fingers off. I was like, good God.
Yeah.
He also is not cool to the lady shaving his head. There's a lot of... we forgot to mention, there's also a cutscene where Nishiki slaps Reina.
Yeah.
That's in chapter 1, right?
Yeah, that's at the end of chapter 1.
Yeah, because he runs...
doesn't seem like a very good dude.
Yeah, he runs back to Reina to like tell her what happened, and Reina's like, I can't believe this, and then he's like, you think I'm stupid too. Everyone thinks I'm stupid. You think I'm terrible. And
she's mad because Yumi disappeared after this.
Right. And also we're told at one point that Yumi has amnesia and cannot remember Kiryu.
Yeah, that's crazy. She's like catatonic when you go find her.
Yeah.
In chapter 1.
Which, not to pass judgment on how people react to sexual assault, but also cool writing, dude.
Well, remember that girl that she's got blindness amnesia after?
Yeah, that's right.
In Yakuza 0.
In Yakuza 0, a girl gets so traumatized that she goes blind.
Yep.
But it's all just psychosomatic.
Strong woman, that really sucks. It sucks that Nishiki slaps her, because I think of the women characters in this game, Reina is the most interesting one.
Yeah, she has her own business. She's sort of interested in people's lives. She seems smart.
Yeah.
But after she gets slapped, she does just cry on the floor.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
'Cause she's real upset because she's like, Nishiki should have been protecting Yumi, and look what she did. He didn't protect anyone. He murdered somebody. It made her life way worse.
Yep.
So, the funeral of fists. Jim, this section is not great.
It's a lot longer than I anticipated and culminates in a very hard fight.
Mm-hmm. I liked how it starts, because basically you're trying to sneak your way in. You need an armband, and the way that you get an armband to go into the back is that you find this mortician who's lost his, and then you find his, but then he grabs it from you. I gave it back to him. And then you follow him back inside, and he gets fired for briefly losing his armband because his boss just doesn't like him.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's capitalism. And then he gets so mad that he throws his armband out in the garbage. And you have to find... It's in one of the many garbage pails, and poor Kiryu gets increasingly distraught at having to dig through garbage.
Kiru's so dumb. None of what he's doing makes any sense.
Nope.
It's like, why would he go back there in the first place?
There's a great opening cutscene where Kazama and Futoshi Shimano are walking through and everyone's bowing to them and they're all like bowing in a wave.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I don't know exactly why he couldn't wait till after the funeral to meet Kazama. It seems like the worst place to go.
Yeah.
This is a very risky thing. And like everybody knows who he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone
So
knows
he's like,
who he
maybe if I
is.
put on a different suit, people won't recognize me, but everybody does immediately. Like they have photos of him.
Yeah, and they hate him. Like, they think
Yeah.
that he's a murderer.
And there's a stealth section. I never got caught. It's a pretty easy stealth section. Did anyone fail this? You have to
Nope.
walk around the guards.
That's why they call me Sneaky V.
You get to the back, and then instead of meeting Shinji, you meet a guy sent by Nishiki who is real mad.
What he mad for?
I don't know, but he's been sent there to beat up Kiryu and fails.
Just as everyone who is sent to beat up Kiru fails.
You head to the you make your way through this to this back room and meet Kazama, who's like, "Oh boy, you really screwed up everything. I don't think you did it." And well, actually, I don't know if he says that, but he's like, "You really screwed up everything, and things are real complicated now." And you talk about how Yumi is dead, and he's like, "Well, she's not actually." And then he gets shot by a sniper.
Oh no.
Shouldn't have been sitting next to that window, I guess.
Yeah.
And at this moment, Futoshi Shimano walks in with his big eyebrows raised and accuses you of murder again.
Yeah, he's like, how dare you sniper rifle shoot this guy to death from right next to him. Also, you don't have a sniper rifle.
And also Kazama could have said, because he's still speaking.
Yeah, he's still talking. He could have been like, "Oh, he didn't do it."
Maybe Kazama
But
thinks
he's like,
he
"No,
did do
take
it.
care of Yumi and the 10 billion." But he could have just said, "Take me to a hospital. I was shot through the window."
Look
Not
at this
by
window
Kiru.
bullet hole.
Yeah, and he got shot in the shoulder or something. Like Kiryu does not have a gun. There's not a gun in the room.
And
But
he's obviously
Kiru
like
also never protests his own innocence.
he's
Yeah.
not very smart.
Kiru's just like, I guess I did.
So,
Well, the guy's just like, instead of explaining anything, he just tells Kiryu to run.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, no, we can probably just squash this right now.
yeah. So you fight your way out. It's very long. There's people throwing knives at you all the time, which is real obnoxious.
Mhm.
This is where you can pick up a sword and then non-fatally stab someone 15 times in the stomach if you do the heat move on them. You make your way to the back and you have to fight Futoshi Shimano to get out of this place.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 health bars, 2 big
That
health
sucks.
bars.
Yeah.
I think by the end, these the leaders tend to get like 5 health bars.
Mhm.
Oof.
That I think the boss fights are the least fun parts of these games.
Yeah. Even the one in the club was not super fun.
So you have to like the with this it sucks because if he hits you once, you get knocked to the ground, and then he can get some extra like hits on you while you're trying to get up. You have to like mash X to stand up. And you can also if you did buy all those curatives from the Popo Mart before Get Over, you can heal yourself, and also food. You can eat as much food as you want to heal in the mid fight too.
I love that you get experience points in this game for going to a restaurant.
It's great.
It's just like real life.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I tried that new Thai place. 40 points for me.
Yay! I can level up my drop kick.
That dropkick is really fun to use.
It is. So he's got a lot of counters and stuff. Like using Vanessa's favorite quick step is really the only way to get around him. Basically, if you go to the purple mode, that I had the best luck because you're faster than he is, so you can dodge him a lot
Mm-hmm.
and get some quick strikes in. But this takes 10 minutes or something, and it's pretty repetitive.
Yeah, that's the thing with this game. It's like mash, 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 mash. It bores me.
Aw, but you'll get to the fun subquest. I think the side quests are what make these games really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of Zero.
Yeah, so you'll get some, and I know there's a bunch of new ones for this game.
Mm-hmm. I particularly enjoyed unlocking and viewing all of the live-action footage of young women in bikinis.
This this Pokemon style women in bikinis bug game is going to be something too. I think it's like the triple triad of this game. So you end up backing out to the street with all these Yakuza there ready to kill you, and Detective Date comes in, riding his car, and tells you to jump in, and saves the day.
Hooray!
He basically says, "You've ruined my career,"
Oh no!
by getting him, because he didn't believe your excuse, and they sent him to investigate organized crime, which is like a dead end for police.
Oh yeah, because they don't actually want to investigate it.
Yeah. So Date and you says, "Yeah, we're both unwanted, cast out by our organizations," and that's the end of this chapter.
Maybe they can learn to want each other.
But Majima wants him.
I would be so happy if this game was just like romantic rivals for Kiru, and he was just an idiot the whole time, being like, "Oh, okay," like completely unaware that anyone was interested in him.
He's an
Like
asexual
me.
man-child. Not that
Yeah.
all not that asexual people are man-children, but in this case, he's a man-child who is also asexual.
Yeah, which is pretty advanced when you think about it. You know, we've kind of moved past the stage where media has to represent sexual minorities as being like, you know, beyond reproach. Originally, they were all villains or psychopaths of some sort. Then they were all sort of paradigms and perfect people. Now we can tell stories about people who just happen to be asexual, like Kiru.
Mm-hmm. There are no mini games in this section, which is kind of a bummer. The Club Sega is closed, and
Yeah.
there will be plenty of mini games. Except people were like, "Oh, you should do this because the bullshit mini game corner will be Afterburner and Space Harrier and Virtua Fighter." You all lied. None of those games are in this. There are no emulated arcade games in Yakuza Kiwami.
Yeah,
it is
really?
lame.
Whoa.
I am upset because I went to the Sega Arcade last night. I was like, I'm going to play some Space Harrier and some Afterburner. It's going to be great. And you know what? The game was like, no, you're not.
Wow. Can you play Claw Grab, though?
You can play all the claw grab you want.
That is probably my number one most time spent doing activity of Yakuza 0, except for maybe running my hostess club.
This is a much shorter game than Yakuza 0, so it doesn't have the hostess or real estate business stuff, which is good time-wise, but I don't know, I wish it had. The arcade games are so cool in the other ones.
The hostess club game is amazing. You can dress up the girls however you want, and that one song plays the whole time.
Did you dress them like in fully covering sensible clothing?
Yeah, they all wore the business suit.
That's great.
Yeah, they're at work. Dress like a professional.
So the bullshit minigame corner will get much better next time because there will be UFOs and card games for sure,
Whoa.
among others. But next time on Square Roots, we're going to finish Chapter 5, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Finish it.
Finish it. Don't just play to the start of Chapter 5.
No.
No, to the end of chapter 5.
The end of Chapter 5. That's
The
two
start of
chapterinos.
Chapter 6.
To the conclusion of chapter 5.
There's a point where you save at the end of chapter 5 before you start chapter 6. Play
Yeah.
with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. So next time chapter 5. Do you guys want to talk about what we're squarely against now?
Yeah.
I sure do, buddy.
Let's go. So somebody go. Go. Just go.
I'm squarely against the fact that this game makes me very hungry. One of the most important activities in it is to visit like the beef bowl place and the takoyaki stand. And I want all of this delicious Japanese food, and it's not here, and it makes me sad. John, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for walking through an incredibly detailed creation of a foreign city. And I wish more games had that in more places. Like, I like Japan. I'm not like a Japanophile, but I think it's cool. I just would love to see this in like Korea or like Bucharest or, I don't know, Bora Bora.
Whatever, weeb.
I just think that that's one thing that's not really done enough in games. It kind of like Sierra Games had a little bit of this back in the the 80s, and people just lost interest in like exploring detailed recreations of cities.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed kind of has it, but then all you do is murder people, so it's not quite that satisfying.
Hitman kind of has it too, but again, murdering people.
But that's one of my favorite things in this game is like you can go to the Popo Mart and just look at the magazine stand. It has these scanned issues from 2005 of like Famitsu and
Oh, interesting.
PlayStation magazine.
Yeah, and a PlayStation magazine and like some kind of spa magazine for women.
Yeah, I do like it. All the snacks, everything that you see, it absolutely feels like Japan.
There's a lot of real stores. Like if you walk by this one place, Don Quixote, you'll hear this song playing. That's a real song that plays outside the store. The Don Quixote, Don 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 Quixote.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really neat, and you can like see how cramped stores are in Tokyo. It's a what's it called? Kamurocho, I think it's the name of the area. It's a fake neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But based on like a real part of Tokyo.
Can we go to Tokyo for the podcast?
Sure. Yeah.
Podcast field trip.
Nice.
I was actually thinking of going to Tokyo for real next year.
Let's all go.
Sure.
Can we go to Disney Sea?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
All right, we're saving all our Patreon money for a trip to Japan, apparently. Jim, what are you squarely against?
Oh, I was going to say I'm roundly for the combat. It's really satisfying to like land combos, and it's really satisfying to use heat moves. And I like the changing of the fighting styles. They're all pretty distinct. And I like kind of mixing and matching depending on who you're fighting, because some enemies are like super like block prone, where they block a lot, and then other ones aren't. So it's fun to do, and I like the upgrade system. Like there's a lot of cool moves you can unlock.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's really it's when we talked about playing, I'd never played a Yakuza game before, and it's like when you said brawler RPG, I thought that sounded boring. But it's really fun.
Yeah, I really, really like this series. And I'm glad that we are playing it for the show.
Me too.
Yay! All right.
Well, yeah, that kind of wraps up this episode. Before we go, let's do our quick pitch for our Patreon. If you want to sign up for our Patreon, we are at patreon.com/squarerootspodcast. If you sign up, you get access to lots of cool bonus content. We do our Instant Classic Revival, Square Roots Versus. We're going to be releasing an episode on the Outer World soon. And we have some backlog of like our level up episodes that we don't really do anymore. But there's a lot of cool content on there. And at the $5 level, you have the ability to vote. Sometimes we'll open up voting for the next game we're going to play for the podcast. And at the $5 level, you have the ability to vote to influence what we play for the show.
We don't have any emails this week, but we will be
No emails.
addressing them in a special bonus level up episode next month. So that'll be fun.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Also with the other holiday magic.
And so one of the other benefits of being a patron is that we like to read off the names of our various patrons at the end of every episode. So I will kick us off this week. All right, let me go first. Vanessa's mom doesn't drink wine. Florian
That's
Jonas
not
Kramer,
true.
Chris Penyak, Alex Dullard, G. Bailey, Miguel Torres, Reddit is Harold Lauder, D. Jethro, Sean Walsh, Matt Jorgensen, that one guy, Matthew Casterline, Cameron Shoei, The Mighty Monarch, Robert T., Resty Kamada, Jake Dickerson, Gregory, Ward Childress, Heavy Metal Jesus, Ryan Miller, Buffy Summers, Vanessa doesn't care how old these blood bags are, Kevin Mosser, Devin Sloan, James Hostetler, Paul Bursch, Robert M. Pollum, Brady A. Berman, Brian Pitt, Sean Gonzalez, David Shook, The Phantom Scofflaws of the Opera, Benjamin Avner, Vanessa's People Mom, Justin Ham, Nathan Poirot, and Aaron Little.
Everyone toots. T. Bumpkins, Hudson Roth, More Games with Evil Playthroughs, Julia Zanella, Chris Ryan, Tyler Petty, Digimon Rocks. Admit it, I've never played a Digimon. Oh no, I played a couple hours of that Cyber Sleuth. Ron's.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it seemed okay. I didn't. It had very limited dungeons,
Oh.
but we'll see. Ron Squared, Joseph. It's mashed potato season. Citrusy. Desk, the strongest Yakuza. This is from last night when trying to escape from the Funeral of Fists. Kiryu was defeated by a desk he couldn't climb over to get around to the exit, and we theorized that Desk was the true final boss of Yakuza. George Brady, John Kissick, Jonathan Ellsworth, Stephen Paget, Wash in the Wind, Christian Go. It's a Kiwami Mario.
Ah.
Fine, say everyone's name. At least it annoys Matt. Tracy Tanoff, Tom, Aaron Bachman, Armin Hammer, Michael Crawford, Andres Rivera, Cake Ninja, Joshua Bennett, Vanessa's fourth mom, Randy Pierce, Cyril the Wolf, Andy M, Knopford, Sean Arata did it all for the Nookie.
Speaking of 2005 references.
Heyo. Chris Wilder, PJ Enns, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Stu Skeel, Hexagon, Race Jenkins, Brian Stone, Ross Hartley, Jameson, Bree Girth, Joff Rock'n'Roll Martin, Samu Mitchell, Lex Averial. I always do that one wrong. Lexaverial.
Sure.
Yeah.
In loving memory of Sexy Grandma, David Green, Bobby Midkiff is back to work. Huzzah! Patrick W. Bears, Just Jerry, No Gods, No Masters, Jordan O'Boyle, Amanda Douglas, Huxley Iguana, Adam Zimmerman, Andy Smith. Halloween candy has turned my mouth into a desert of pain. And Andy Best. Did I say Andy Best twice? No, I said Andy Smith. Halloween candy has turned my mouth into a desert of pain. And Andy Best. Galendo, Jonathan Lee, Eric Garby, Jared Collins, Stephen Crock, Wonder Swan, Vanessa's mom, and Dr. Steve Stone. I know that guy.
Boy. He is going to be on that Dead Space episode that's showing up on our feed at some point,
Yes,
Jim.
Soon. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. You can send us an email to have it read on the show. We are at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group, for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
With the Facebook group, just so you all know, there's a question, and if you answer it, it shows us that you're not a bot, and so I don't have to message you and ask you if you're a bot before adding you. So please answer that question. I know heterosexual men hate being told to do anything, but
It's always the heterosexual men who won't answer the question.
Always the heteros.
It's really easy too.
Yeah. Just answer the question, buddy. It's fine.
It's not a math problem. It's not
just
even a preference problem.
Yeah. It's just like, so we can tell you're not a bot. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And,
didn't put it there just for nothing.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, well, that's it for this episode. For Square Roots, I'm Jim Banks.
I am Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa Chan.
Bye.